So we have some pretty strong-willed children normally, especially our youngest daughter. Uh, she's free-spirited, she's creative and strong-willed. She knows what she wants, and she's going to do whatever she can to get it, even if that means she's going to get herself into trouble doing it. Yesterday was a little different for us and for her. Yesterday she was more argumentative than normal and whiny like crazy, and seemed like anything she tried to do, she messed up on, and she dropped whatever it was on the floor or on her pants, and just were making messes and mistakes more often than normal, and arguing and yelling and crying. And by the end of the night, it got to a point where she just had this total meltdown, and I ended up having to hold her in my lap and letting her cry and rocking her until she was able to calm down and have some semblance of peace. And one thing that I've noticed over the years is that, especially in young children, that behavior is an expression of the heart. Usually how a young kid behaves is kind of a reflection of what's going on inside their heart. Young children don't know how to communicate that they're afraid sometimes, or that they have anxiety, or that they're troubled in some way, so they act out. They act out in some way. And oftentimes, if a child is dealing with anxiety, it'll express in a physical symptom like my tummy hurts, or I don't feel good. They can't communicate what that is going on inside their emotions or heart, so they express it in physical symptoms or in behavior. And I think that was definitely going on yesterday with our daughter and our other children also. We're not only in the midst of a pandemic. This COVID-19 thing's got us isolated in our homes, and if you watch the news, death tolls are rising and cases are rising, so people are already afraid, and children are already afraid of that. But this weekend was Easter, and so we started the morning by celebrating, Easter baskets and sunrise service with communion with the family online, and church and Easter baskets and a nice Easter lunch, and grandmother had sent some gifts for the kids, so we gave those to them after lunch, and just high emotion day. The kids loved it. And then there was bad weather expected on Easter Sunday, so we were watching the weather for that. And it got to a point where it seemed like the weather was going to pass, so everybody kind of relaxed. We put on our pajamas and started to get ready for bed. And as soon as we did, the tornado warning siren started going off, and the kids started to panic. And we don't have a basement or any kind of storm cellar where we live, so we loaded up the kids. Miss Laura had spent the day making masks, coverings for everybody, and we loaded everybody up and went to a local storm shelter. And so I've got some photos of us sitting in a storm shelter with masks on, huddling all together, waiting for a storm to pass. I'm making this video outside, so you're hearing all the cars and everything. But in those photos, you can see the fear in the kids' eyes. And in fact, while we were sitting there, Emma started saying that she was getting sick to her stomach, that she felt like she was going to get sick. So thankfully, that storm shelter had a bathroom, so I took her into the bathroom, and we prayed together, and I helped her calm down, and we went back out. And kind of what sparked her fear was while we were in that shelter, someone said, "Hey, if you guys don't lock that door, when the storm gets here, it's going to suck us all out, and it's not going to do us any good to be here." And so that really frightened her and amped up her fear. And thankfully, there were three tornadoes that were reported in the Coleman County area, and we were safe. We got home, everybody was safe, and it took us a while to calm down and get to sleep. And it wasn't until the next day that the emotions from that really started playing out in front of us through those bad behaviors. I wanted to take some time and just remind you that your kids' behavior in the midst of this pandemic may be a direct response to fear they have or anxiety they have related to all of this that's going on. Pay attention to that. They may not know how to communicate how they're feeling or what they're afraid of, but spend some time just talking with them about how they feel or what's going on in their heart. When they say their tummy hurts, you know what? It's okay just to let them sit in your lap. I mean, obviously depending how big they are, and rock them to sleep. Help them calm down. Start thinking of some ways to help your kids cope with what's going on. One of our boys has some anxiety problems, and when it gets really bad, he always comes to me and says, "Dad, can you pray with me?" And so we pray, and he has this coping mechanism that we've talked about, where when it's really bad, he'll find an item in the room to focus on, and he'll start describing it to himself, the color and the texture and how it feels. Is it soft? Is it hard? Just focusing on that one item to kind of take his mind off of what's going on. We have some very real fears in our society right now, and your kids are going to pick up on that. Take some time to help your kids develop some coping skills that will help them in the midst of dealing with all the fears and anxiety that we have right now. And remember that behavior is oftentimes a reflection of what's going on in their heart. It's a mirror reflecting back what they're feeling or what they're thinking or what they're afraid of. Help them learn to deal with those things in a way that's better than just acting out. One thing I want to encourage you to do is to spend some time memorizing some Bible verses together. And I know that may sound a little different, but I would encourage you to, I'm going to give you a couple Bible verses, and I would encourage you to write them on your hand. Write them on a 3x5 card, write them on a sticky note. Just do what you can to remember them. And in these times where anxiety and fear is overflowing and overwhelming, recite these together, and maybe teach these to your kids and get them to remember them also. Teaching kids coping mechanisms, coping skills, it's going to be a lot better and easier if you're modeling these for them, and if you are exhibiting faith and overcoming fear in your own life. It's going to be easier to teach when you're modeling it to your kids. And so here's some Bible verses. And I was talking to one of the dear ladies at our church about this the other day, and she shared some of these Bible passages with us, and I want to share them with you. And one of them is Isaiah 41:10. Isaiah 41:10. Fear not, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And then Psalm 56, I can turn there. Psalm 56:3. Whenever I am afraid, I will trust in you. Whenever I am afraid, I will trust in you. Psalm 56:3. Those Bible verses have helped me, and I'm going to teach these to my kids. And so when they are afraid, they'll know that they can trust in Jesus. We live in unprecedented times, and we need to be intentional about helping kids deal with fear and anxiety. We need to be intentional about dealing with fear and anxiety in our own heart. All right? Love you guys. Have a good day.